Dear students, today we are going to see about what is museology. Museology is also one of the branch of history, and the studying museology, it gives awareness about museums and museum studies, and to equip the students to have some job in the museum market. And also it provides an auxiliary subject of history. It not just provides a job, but also it helps in the study of history. So knowing about museology is very, very important as a student of history. So this, what is museology? Museums. What is museums are for? So museums are for to protect and preserve the culture of the society. And also the study of museology is nothing but it's a science of museum. And also there is another one called museography. That is, in museography we study the methods and practices in the operation of museum. And what is the meaning of museums? Museum is the term museum derived from the Greek word museon. So that means temple of muses. Muses is the goddess who is associated with the learning of epic, music, love, poetry, oratory, history, tragedy, comedy, dance, and astrology. So now let us see what are the different definitions of museum or museology. Okay, museum is a place of contemplation or temple considered to be a building used to store and exhibit historical and natural objects according to Greeks. Okay, it is a place where total heritage is preserved, and also not just preserved but also exhibited, and it reflects our past, and it is a repository of our knowledge, and it is mirror which reflects the ancient cultural glory of a nation, and it is also considered as the medium of communication and recreation. It is also, for some people, it is a recreation center. When you're free, would like to see the museum, it is very interesting thing to visit a museum. And also it's a cultural center. So, but to define the working definition is, museum is an institution which collects, documents, preserves, exhibits, and interprets material evidence and associated information for the public benefit. Let me come again. Museum is an institution which collects, documents, preserves, exhibits, and also interprets that material evidences which is associated with the information for the public benefit. UNESCO has given another definition for this museum. So museum is a non-profit making permanent institution in their service to the society and for the development, and open to public, which acquires, conserves, researches, and communicates and exhibits the purpose of and it is mainly for the purpose of education, and also for some it is for the employment too. And when we see the history of museum, the earliest reference in museum goes back to 4th century BC, Alexander the Great. So it is recorded that natural history, he had a natural history museum. Then Ptolemy first, he founded the first museum in the world. Then we see that open air museum was founded by Emperor Hadrian. And in the 15th century at Florence, a museum collection of Medici was there, which was a magnificent one. So these are about some museum. Then what is about modern museum? It is believed that modern museum is founded in the year 1523 from Grimani family in Venice. Now it is an archaeological museum, first archaeological museum of the world. Then in 1714, Peter I, he established a museum for public heritage museum. Then in 1740 to 45, Pope Benedict and Pope 14, he established the first Christian museum in Venetian city. Then in 1753, British Museum was established. 1773, there is South Carolina, there is a new museum Charleston Library Society. They established a museum, and also followed by many other museums in Spain, the Royal Museum. Then Frederick II, he created a public museum in Germany and Australia in the year 1874. So many museums were established later. So the beginning of this modern museum is from Venice. And in Africa, in Southern African Museum, Cape and also there are, now we see in the world there are so many thousands and thousands of museums are there all over the world. So when we take an Indian context, the history of museum, the prehistoric period that we call the museum was not there, but cave paintings were there, and paintings in temples were there, in monasteries, and where it exhibited the history of that particular period. Okay, and the stupa of Bharat, it is also called as the open air museum in Indian concept. And present day museum in India, the Asiatic Society of Bengal in 1784 in Kolkata, the Indian Museum Kolkata was started by the Asiatic Society of Bengal in the year 1814. The first curator was Nathaniel Valley. So then in the year 1851, Madras Literary Society opened a museum of economic geology in Chennai, and the curator was Edward Green Balfour. So period of the museum movement, then the period of museum movement started, and all over India museums were established. There were a lot of provincial museums in the state, in the cities museum established. So Victoria Museum at Karachi was established in 1851. So Prince Wales Museum in 1853 and 1857 Trivandrum Natural History Museum was established. So the growth of museum, the government took care when the Britishers ruled. They wanted to bring up, or they wanted to develop these museums. So in the year 1878, Indian Treasure Trove Act was passed by Lord Lytton, and according to that act, lot of museums were established. By the middle of 19th century, museums at Trichy, Bhopal, Jaipur, Raipur, Baroda, Tiruchirappalli, so many museums were established. In the middle of 20th century, state museums in Assam, Guwahati, Punjab was established, and government museum in Orissa, Manipur state, all were established by the Act, Indian Treasure Trove Act. And by the dawn of 20th century, we can say the era of reforms, Lord Curzon, he initiated museums too. So he established museums at Sarnath, Taxila, Nalanda, Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and all. So later museums were established in some other places, Khajuraho and Gwalior, Dhaka and all the other places. And as I told you earlier, 1914 Prince Wales Museum was established. 1946 museum has become the branch of Archaeological Survey of India. At present, we have more than 700 museums in India. So when we take museum history, especially to Tamil Nadu, Madras Literary Society was established. They established a government museum at Chennai. Okay, Balfour was the first officer, and it was, from the year 1854, it is moved to the Pantheon Road, and in the 1865 Tanjore Armory was transformed to Chennai Museum, and now at present Chennai Museum is one of the important museums of Tamil Nadu. And what they did was they collected all the things from other museums and they kept it in Chennai Museum. And Dr. Paramashivam, he was the first Indian curator of Tamil Nadu, Chennai, that is Chennai Museum. So when we take district museum, the policy of the government of Tamil Nadu district said that every district should have museum. So the first district museum was started at Pudukkottai, followed by Salem, and after independence it was started. Then lot of museums started, Madurai, Trichy, Vellore and all over Tamil Nadu. So these are few questions that you can go through. And so museum is, as we have seen today, museum is one of the important aspect of reconstructing history. So as a student of history, we all should know about museum. And these are few questions that I am showing you so you can answer these questions. So I want you all to do an assignment tracing the history of museums in the world. Thank you.